Where's that one? Oh, yeah. All right, that's live. Where's it? Not expecting anybody. Maybe one or two. Let's see if they show up. Sorry if you happen to stumble across this live and nothing's edited. I don't think I've edited a live yet. Where's that? Oh, at the MC77. Kia ora, bro. Appreciate your support. Hopefully your Christmas has been awesome, wherever you are. Yeah, Merry Christmas, James. Likewise, bro. Hope you and your whānau, your tribe, are doing awesome. And Christmas has been kind to you and Santa's been generous. A little bit early. That's all right. This is welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. Okay, that one's up. Hopefully people's Christmas is good wherever you are and your families are well, or you're well and your families are well. Who is that? I'll leave that. Couple of minutes. Likewise, Paul, Merry Christmas, bro. Hope all's well your end. I know you, sounds like he's a busy mate. So thanks for taking time, reaching out, wishing Merry Christmas and jumping on this live, even if it's only briefly. Get rid of that. Keep it. Oh, this is Barracuda 2002. Joe, where did the inspiration to start podcasting? Merry Christmas, legend. Merry Christmas to you first, bro. Paul, great to hear all is going well. Awesome. The inspiration to start podcasting. Yeah, where did that come from? There's a while ago. If you mean this channel, I don't know, I probably wouldn't call it a podcast. Well, not in my head of what a podcast is, but when I was doing it with my brother-in-law, Brian Osman, shout out B, over in Sydney, that came from, I think, listening to, there's a guy, what's his name? He does, Lewis Howes, I think, does the School of Greatness podcast. It's been around for a long time. Former professional, I think, football player in America. And yeah, I just liked the sound of it. It was really positive. It was uplifting. And I thought, man, that's pretty cool. So I decided that was pretty much just my earliest recollection. And then the shift into some of the stuff to do with interviewing former military personnel and stuff, people like Bill Bestick, Kane Middleton, Greg Pup Johnson, and a whole bunch of others, including guys from Oz, Nick Caldwell, Anthony Gadeen, Harry Moffat, a few other lads. That came from when my brother-in-law again interviewed a former professional rugby player here in NZ, and he spoke about, in summary, he spoke about just sort of feeling a bit of disconnect from not being able to play professional rugby anymore. I think due to an injury, maybe in his neck or in his spine, which sort of ended his opportunity to continue playing professional rugby, and how he missed it, longed for it. I forget the player's name, but it's probably somewhere Brian will probably remember. And yeah, the penny just sort of dropped for me when I heard that. I thought, holy heck, a lot of the stuff that he was talking about, he's a professional sports person, which I'm not, but talking about things that I could connect with in my own world, I suppose, particularly from a military perspective. And when I heard that, for whatever reason, it felt probably a little bit of release, or maybe healing. Maybe that's the right word. I don't feel like healing is the right word, but it felt good. Is the easiest thing I could put to say. Then I hit up my brother-in-law and said, "Hey, how about we do this and shift and try and do these sort of things?" And he was up for it, and and so that's where it came from. Long-winded answer again, but appreciate the question. And look at that, I talked so much I went over the 1900 hour start time. So thanks for that, Barracuda. Appreciate you, brother. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Merry Christmas to everybody that is on here that might be spending a bit of time. A few people have reached out. Some on Instagram, some through emails. I think on the back end of the live that I did 2 days late after saying that I would do it on the Saturday, and I didn't do something until Sunday or whenever it was. But yeah, some people doing it hard, eh? Some of those people reached out after the end of that live and the comments there. This time of year is pretty hard for people, so I'm just going to hang out on here for a bit. And yeah, there may be some people that might want to chime in or ask questions or whatever, but just based on some of the messages that I received, fortunate, got a few questions which I'll dive into, which some have been kind enough to ask how Christmas has been. But yeah, so I'll just hang out here for a while, or until there's nobody left there staring at their screen, and then probably drop off. But jumping into these first, oh sorry, hang on. Oh, cheers, bro. Yeah, just reading your like the deep dive into Harry Moffat. Yeah, there's so much more. Could have done a heck of a lot more with Moff. Might reach out to him later on down the track, but if I catch up with him again, I'd rather do that in person. So probably be a trip over there, or see if he's coming over these ways. He's been here in NZ a few times, I think, and maybe recently this year or last year, whenever it was, because I had a couple of friends reach out and let me know that they were sitting in on a presentation that Moff was doing over here. So anyway, what do we got? Yeah, first one was, what's Christmas been like so far? It's been magic. It's been awesome. Thanks for those that have asked. Nice to have family and that around, and simple. So yeah, it's been magic and simple is how I would describe Christmas this year, if not most years or every year. So yeah, thanks for that. No dramas with regards to Christmas this year, which is nice, and still got some movement and some training and stuff, and nothing real simple stuff. So hopefully if anybody's got anything how their Christmas has been, feel free to share or drop it in there. I enjoy reading the comments and trying to get back to people. This next one is, how was your stomp in Waiouru? So the pack march that was going on, or that I went on, yeah, that was good. Truth be told, I was blowing. I was blowing over some of those features and the routes, and just I'd massively forgotten what the terrain is like in Waiouru. So just the terrain underfoot, whether it's flat, whether you're going uphill, downhill, uphill and downhill were both taxing, for me anyway. And due to the fact that when you're stepping, the ground sinks, and not everywhere, but in large areas, and the particular ground and part of the training area that we were navigating and stomping up and down the features and the hills was definitely like that. So you go to step on a spot going up a feature which you think is pretty firm, and you're going to have solid footing, and you step into it and then it sinks down, and then next step is exactly the same, and it just carries on like that going up these features. Similarly, coming downhill was equally challenging and hard, and needed to be careful about where I was putting my foot, so that I wasn't overstepping, overreaching, and potentially rolling or breaking a leg or something like that, or taking a tumble down the hill. Some of the parts where we were was quite steep, and but it was good fun. Definitely blowing. The weather was nice too. The sun was out, and that was on the 22nd. 22nd of this month. So got out and about, and it was hot and hard work, but I definitely enjoyed it. And I was also, so that's where in that or in Waiouru is where the selection is run for NZ, and it was good to dust off the old navigation and map, yeah, compass, just for the bearings and just for the theoretical aspect of it, in terms of grid bearing, converting that to a mag bearing, so on and so forth, or doing a resection and that sort of thing. So those skills are still there, maybe not as fast as, yeah, maybe not as fast as what it used to be, but definitely still there. The mechanics and everything's still there. But surprisingly, even though a lot has changed, at least in the area that I saw anyway, that I was walking around in Wairu, even though there's lots of things in those areas that have changed over the last however many years, new things being put into particular parts of that area where it just used to be nothing. Ranges and targets, mechanical targets, and a whole bunch of other things, props and things to shoot at for live firing exercises, just things that weren't there when I was in. Yeah, I found I didn't really wasn't needing to worry. The map to ground wasn't too bad. So I was happy with that. Went and did a recce on a couple of routes, which I thought on the map they looked okay, but they turned out to be kaka. So yeah, those full of high bracken bush, so real bush bashing to get through particular parts there, and then some nasty thistles and a whole bunch of dead branches and trees in another particular area, which start off really small and then they ended up taller than me and getting closer and closer together. So some of those, it was just some good learning and stuff there, and what looks good on the map and then what you're faced with on the ground were two very different things. So that aspect was cool. Doing the walking, as I mentioned, probably one of the aspects that I might compare it to slightly, without the cold, was probably similar to, I suppose, snow, taking a step into snow and then having that ground sink underneath your foot. And and that was the part that was taxing. That's a part that is, at least in my opinion, my experience, doing step ups onto a trunk and then stepping down onto a solid, firm surface like the ground, you're missing, or you don't get until you're out in the hills, and then it's like, hello, next minute, and then started huffing and puffing my way through. But it was good. The other, I suppose, reflection I might call it, is that when I was walking that training area, after having forgotten what that training area and what the terrain was like, after being out of it for so long, it really made me appreciate the selection that we did in the Port Waikato area back in 1998. So for the open country nav, because it was, although there's some big features and rolling hills and that sort of thing, I think from memory, people that did that selection maybe only may come across as much in some comments or whatever, but from memory, it was largely rolling hills and farmland. So aside from having to get to a fence, take off your pack, climb over, then pick your pack up, lift it over, put it back on, and then take your pack off, put it over, then climb over, put your pack on and go. Aside from having to do that, when I did do that, because there were a lot of times where I just climbed over the fence with my pack on to save time, the footing was pretty sure. And what you could see and where you put your foot, at least on my experience, was what I was stepping on. So there wasn't that sinking, unless there was like a swampy, wet area. Aside from that, the rest of it was pretty good. Whereas where we were in Wairu, that whole particular area, and where we navigated our way to, the vast majority of the terrain in between checkpoints, to and from, etc., was how I described. So pretty challenging. And so with that reflection, I was looking at that and just, I said, I was like, man, I reckon this terrain for this part of the open country, this part of selection, being open country navigation, my thoughts based on my experience or my memory from what it was like in Port Waikato at the time, I felt like those doing selection in Wairu on that open country nav have probably got it harder, or probably have it harder than what I had in my one in 98. So there's a few other things which I've come to find out about from the selection these days, just through people that have done it, where maybe it counters some of the stuff at the end of the day. The selection's bloody hard, even the one that they're doing this time. depending on who you ask, depending on which vintage they come from, they might always have that comment that their one was harder, or theirs was the last of the hard selections, whatever. So I don't, yeah, I'm not in that camp. I just felt like, and it might be because I'm bloody more than twice the age I was when I did selection back then as well. But yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, man, this terrain sucks. I'm glad I didn't do open country selection on this terrain, although the navigation was really, I found it quite easy in relation to map to ground and not having to worry about the bearing to and from checkpoints. It was the work was in the moving to the checkpoints. Man, there's some hard work in some of those spots. So yeah, the stomp was awesome, tiring, hot. I was sore after, and we didn't have a heavy pack on. We weren't running heavy packs. Just carried a bit of water, some snacks to munch on, some muesli bars, some lollies, sour worms were good, so I was munching on those, and yeah, and just a very light day pack and moving. I wore my, what are they, Solomon's shoes, hiking shoes, or maybe I'm saying the name wrong. Haven't got them in front of me. They're just inside. But I was wearing those. Those were comfy as. The ones with just the pull tight and then do up the little drawstring thing to tighten them up. Those were comfortable as. Long trousers and a shirt. So yeah, the not pack march, the stomp was good in a light version, and thankfully it was a light version. I was just thinking to myself, bloody hell, going up and down these hills with 35 kilos, even just 20 kilos would have been that would have been a mission. So anyway, where was it? Was that it for that one? Yeah, I think that is. How was your stomp and motor? Yeah, it was hard work is what it was for me. This is, how do you support your ankles when uneven terrain? Oh, I don't use any strapping or anything, if that's what you mean. So I just try and be careful with where I place my feet. I did wear double socks. I did put some Vaseline on my feet and the toes. That was a tip from, maybe it was you, My Soap 23, and maybe it was another guy, Gareth Thomas. Can't remember now. There's a few people that threw in a few suggestions around feet preservation, looking after feet and that sort of thing. So I did Vaseline, thin pair of socks, slightly thicker pair of socks. That they weren't that thick, to be fair, just some sports socks. And then those shoes on over the top, felt comfortable. Probably felt a bit more snug than I'm used to because I don't normally wear two pairs of socks. But but at the end of it was good. So just had to try to be careful where I was placing my foot in terms of ankle. What'd you say? Ankle support. How do I support my ankles? Yeah, just by trying to be careful where I'm placing my feet. Thankfully, touch wood, I haven't had any. Like, I've had no ankle surgeries, no broken ankles or anything like that. All I've had, worst thing, has just been sprains and strains in ankles from basketball and volleyball, and either just landing in basketball on somebody else's foot or things like that. But I haven't had any major surgeries or anything. Most of mine has been my left Achilles, because I'm left leg dominant but right-handed. So I used to be used to jump off 1 foot, more of a 1 foot jumper than a 2 feet takeoff person. And I guess maybe over time that's just caught up to me over the years, but I try to manage it and look after it a bit better now. So at the end of that, I was feeling it in my left Achilles just from the stretch going uphill all the time, and my toes being pulled up going uphill, and just that constant stretch on the back of my Achilles. I felt that, and my left knee wasn't too bad. So I took a brace just in case, but I didn't wear it because by the time we were walking around, it was hot. I'm glad I didn't put it on, because I thought, if I put it on, long trousers, and I don't want to have to lift up the trousers or take them off and then take the brace off, because I feel like everything swelled up. My Achilles definitely swelled up on my left, noticeably fatter. So I've just been icing it. It's gone back down to normal pretty much now, but still just trying to be a little bit more cautious with it. Knee looked like and leg looked like it swelled up, so I'm glad I didn't put just the sock type knee brace on. Probably would have ended up like a bit of a tourniquet, so I didn't use that. But other than long-winded answer to your ankle question, I just try and be careful where I step. Merry Christmas, brother. Fee Jarab. We'll get that breakfast sorted. Peppermill Cafe. what you are describing as what we call a normal hunting day. Awesome, especially at the tops. There were actually a couple of hunters on the track out in the training area as well, a father and son duo, but they had a quad. They had a quad bike and they did up to the top of one of the hills. There's a prominent track that went up to one of the features, so they used that. But then I think they were walking off and stuff again later on. So yeah, they had it. They were being smart about it, I guess, is what I would say. Hard case about a normal hunting day. Awesome. Oh yeah, got you. I'm with you now. I know who that is. Merry Christmas, Solly. Thank you, brother. Jelly tip, Merry Christmas. Avenger, what's your strategy when going uphill with a weighted pack in terms of steps? I've been keeping to small steps, but in relatively fast repetition. Great question, Avenger -MU1FL. FL. Yeah, strategy was, I can't say that I've, maybe more so these days, very similar to what you've just mentioned, but when I was serving, I can't say that I had a strategy. It was more depending on how steep the feature was going up, that naturally just decreased the length of my stride, which is a large reason why the majority of the time I do my step ups just onto a 30 centimeter box, whether it's a soft box or whether the green trunk that I've got is maybe just under 40 centimeters. So it's a little bit higher than the 30 centimeter one. Maybe it's 35, something like that. But that's a large reason why when I was preparing for selection and doing my version of a never-ending hill, the step-ups, 30 centimeters was enough because I found naturally my strides got shorter and shorter. There's sometimes on the features where the strides might only be 10 centimeters in stepping length, height, whatever you call it. Just again, due to the terrain. So the fact that you've got a strategy, I don't know how old you are in terms of going up hills and with a weight on your back, you're probably ahead of, well, you're definitely ahead of where I was in terms of, I wasn't thinking strategy. I was just thinking, I need to go as quick as I can. And I need to try to get to the checkpoint within the time, and I need to try to finish each day within the time frame. That's what was going through my head. So if I could have taken a longer stride, I would have, but I found that for me, naturally, I was forced to take a shorter stride just because I felt like, and I knew that I was burning too much energy, or would be burning too much energy trying to take that big high stride or high step to get up the hill. Even though I wanted to get up there quicker, not sometimes, the steepness of that terrain, taking the shorter and more frequent or quicker pace, quicker cadence steps, you end up getting to the top quicker. So yeah, pretty much the same as yours. Thanks for that, Avenger -MU1FL. I find doing a little bit of zigzagging going uphill helps. Cool. Okay. Yep. I can't say that I don't do a lot of zigzagging. I try to find typically that spur line that I want to hit up, and then hit up that as well as I can. There might be times if there's something real prominent that you can't see from a distance, because from a distance it looks good, or on the map it looks good, and then when you're walking it, some parts turn to kaka. There might be a little bit there, and usually that might be if there's something that I want to avoid, or if there's something that I want to get to. So in Waiodu, there's some areas on some of those features where there's some scarring, and that scarring is just wide open, and the ground is usually pretty firm and hard, and that might be just off to the left or to the right of the spur line or the ridge line that I might be heading up. And so getting over to that, depending on how much of a scarring there might be, I don't know, 80 meters to 100 meters or something worth of scarring, maybe not quite that much, maybe 50 meters, 40 meters. But to get to that and then go up that for 40, 50 meters or more, can save a lot of time, just because of you can move a bit quicker. You're not worrying about where your foot is going, foot placement, and all that sort of thing. So little things like that definitely I'm looking out for, or we were looking out for along the way. We found some of those, but unfortunately they were few and far between. Not as many as we would have liked. Jelly tip, zigzag makes sense, like winding roads, but takes longer. Yep. Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And like that, I like that my soap shared that, and I think that's probably why I didn't do much zigzagging, and why I still don't. I still just want to get to the top. So at Colonial Knob is, yeah, like what Jelly Tip is saying and what my soap is saying. There's the 1.8 kilometer route up to the lookout here in Purerua, or just the knob for those that don't like referring to it as Colonial Knob. Me, I'm neither here nor there. And then there's, so if you go left, there's a 1.8 kilometer route. And then if you go right at the start point, it's a 6.1 kilometer, it says, to the lookout. Windy, real windy, but a nice, gentle, like you can run that route. There's quite a number of people that run that route. Ran that route with my boys earlier this year, so a few months ago now. Yeah, and it's a nice, easy. You can run that route. Well, I'd say they were running. Was I jogging? Maybe shuffling. Maybe I was shuffling and they were jogging or running. Oops! Oh no! Hang on. Oh, thankfully it didn't crack. It just fell out of my pocket, the phone. So yeah, that windiness, gentler, easier, definitely can move faster, but it takes and took a heck of a lot longer to get to the top. So going the short route with the pack on, I think last time with the pack, one of the times with the pack, which was 42 kilos, I tried to get up there in, 40 kilos. I tried to get up there in 40 minutes. Took me 42 minutes. Going the 6 kilometer route, that'll probably take me at that weight probably a little over an hour. I'd be trying to get up there in under an hour though, just because of the it's not super steep. So yeah, hopefully I could get up there in under an hour going that way, but maybe with that pack weight and that longer duration and the windiness, it might take me over an hour to get up there. So yeah, good comments. Where's yep, 100%. Do your sons outpace you now? My soap 23. Yeah, they do. I'd love to say that they don't, and that I can still keep up with them. But no, yeah, they're miles ahead now. when they're running it, probably pack marching, I could probably stay with them. Depending again, running, no, they're gone. Maybe no, so that's why I'm keen to just get my Achilles 100%. So been using the collagen stuff. Shout out to Sari for the 100% pure marine collagen, is what it's called, from Switch. So I've not long been trying that. I've never used anything before. So he swears by it. He's an awesome dude, somebody that I have a lot of respect for and that I trust. So when he mentioned that, I thought, oh, okay, got the details and went online and then ordered it, and it arrived. No taste or anything. Can have it with hot drinks, cold drinks, food, sprinkle on the food or whatever. So I'll try and take it morning. Well, I've been taking it morning, then in the evening. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe that's why the Achilles has healed up a lot more, but I've been icing it a heck of a lot too since then. So that's been helpful. G'day, Joe. Well, yesterday was 43 degrees. Today, raining. I hope you had a good day yesterday, mate. Yeah, we did. Good to hear from you, Christian. Thanks for that. Yeah, I was saying to Christian, I don't miss the high 30s and the low 40-degree temperatures there in WA. So, yeah, Perth, beautiful place. It's awesome. Definitely, we'll be going back there. We'll probably be back there early-ish this coming New Year for a wedding. One of our nephews is getting married over there, so we're going to head on over. Well, I hope they do. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Regards to your boys. Thanks, bro. Yep, I'll pass that on. Jelly tip message. Oh, says retracted. Okay, all good. Where are we? So yeah, that's the Waiuru piece and the stomp there and the boys kicking my backside, all that stuff. Oh yeah, so this one here is I'm just going to read this here. I'm not going to give the person's name or their handle. They haven't said not to, but I won't. It's got here, what do you think of that Kiwi fella Shubs and the content he puts out there calling out members of parliament, regardless of whether they're Māori or non-Māori? So I think, who was it? I think, might have been a couple of weeks ago, maybe longer. I think James Gregg, one of the kind supporters of the channel, said something about Shubs and Dion Jensen, I think. Anyway, I can't remember what he said, but I follow Shubs. I don't engage in directly. I don't know Shubs. I think he's somebody, to me, comes across, seems to have, speaks his mind, no filter, first and foremost. That's what stands out. But when he's speaking, he's speaking from his heart, like he's speaking just, he's been through some stuff. The videos that I've heard, he's open about the trauma that he's been through, physical abuse and sexual abuse and that sort of thing in relation to him. And that takes a lot of courage, man. Like he doesn't look old. He looks like a young fellow. And for a young person, and I don't know how old he is. Here I am saying looks like a young fella. Maybe he might just have that youthful appearance, and maybe he's a lot older than what I think he is. But regardless, either way, whether he's young, old, middle-aged, whatever, it's a lot of courage, man, to be out there, to put yourself out there the way that he does anyway. Talk about not only his stuff and his healing journey and what he's trying to do to help others, but I love the fact that it doesn't matter who you are, in terms of he seems to have an interest in the political process, the justice system, what MPs, with the position that they hold and the positions of authority, power, you might even say, everything that comes with those positions and the carrying the trust of people or of your nation. He's hearty, bro. Shubs, in my opinion, in response to your question, seems like a good fella, and more power to him, eh? Like, speaks his mind, gets in there, he's asking for receipts, calls out people. The fella seems to get a lot of comments. I like to think he gets a lot of support. I also can see that there's probably a few people that don't like what he has to say, and maybe those are people, without knowing them, maybe those are people that maybe has something to hide, or that take offense to what he's saying in and about either them particularly or specifically, or maybe their loved ones or family members. I don't know what their take or what their raru is with him, or what their problem is with him. But what do I, hang on, let me just go back to the question. What do I think of Shubs and the content he puts out there? So Shubs as a person, without knowing him from a bar of soap, I have no connection to him other than I've seen that he's had some conversations with Dion Jensen. So that's, and in person. So I'm assuming he's here in Aotearoa and not in Australia. I think when I had seen some of his stuff, I think he might have been in Australia. I think he's a courageous young man, standing on what he believes is right and doing what makes him happy, which is awesome. What do I think about his content he puts out there? Again, good on him. That's something that he enjoys, or that he wants to go down. He wants the receipts. I think I've heard him say, show me the receipts. He's also somebody, I've heard him say this as well, like, if you can show the receipts for what it is where you've been spending that money, that he's man enough, I think was the words that he's used, to apologize, to say, yep, I was wrong, you were right, you are doing the right thing, whatever. But people seem to be dodging. He's one of the people. He's a taxpayer. He's doing what he needs to do. And I suppose with those things that he has, which I have, which each of us have here in Aotearoa, at least anyway, he has a right to ask for, how is that stuff? How are you using the taxpayers' money? What are you doing? Regardless of whether you're a Te Pāti Māori or a non-Māori party. So yeah, I think it's cool what he's doing. Is it something that I would get into? Probably not. Hey, I'm not interested in politics at all. Yeah, that's just my take. But I like listening to people like Shubs that have got their stuff up out there. Members of Parliament, regardless of whether they're Māori or not. Yeah, and I think, in closing on that part, I think that's probably the other cool thing and powerful thing to me, is that he doesn't care whether you're Māori or non-Māori. If you're in those positions, if you're an MP, if you're in government, if you're a part of the police, or other things like that, in positions of authority and power, and comes with a requirement to maintain the trust of your community and the people within your area, then you have a responsibility to deliver on the things that you say you're going to do, and own up to and take responsibility for the things that you fail to achieve or deliver on, particularly if they're things that you said that you were going to do. And if you're caught out in things and misuse of stuff that you know you shouldn't have been doing, then what I get from Shubs when he's talking is that, then just be man or woman enough to own up to it and say, yep, I stuffed up. I shouldn't have done that. I did it. I will repay or whatever. I think if people did that, they'd probably be less, I don't know if hate is the word, but there'd probably be less people upset with them, I suppose, for want of a better term. But Shubs, I think he's doing an awesome job. Yeah, I like watching him, like I say. The growth for him has been awesome to see as well. That's the other thing. But I think it's warranted, eh? Like, he's out there, he's doing what he enjoys, and asking people for those receipts, calling them out, regardless of who you are. I think he's got a hikoi, a walk happening for all cultures, regardless whether you agree with what he talks about or whether you disagree. I think he's put it out there. He's invited people, and they think they're going around the North Island and that anyway. Maybe starting up in Auckland. I'm not sure where they're starting. I haven't looked into that part. But I think it's pretty cool what he's doing. Sorry, I got bloody mozzie bites. But yeah, it's awesome what he's doing. So keep doing it, I say. James Gregg, yes, Shubs and Dion did a shout out. Oh, they did a shout out to me. Okay, he's doing the hikoi starting down okay, so he's starting down here, up to Waitangi. Okay, in 2026. Hard case fella. Yeah, definitely. he spit some funny lines, man, but it seems to be, at least without me doing any research into what he's talking about, seems to be based on fact, and he's hearty enough to get in, dig in, and do his research, and then call out and talk about what it is. But yeah, I like what he has to do. Or I like what he's doing. Jeffrey Dawson, no shame coming back to NZ to put a face to his online rants. Yeah, he's a crack up. He even talks about that, his ranting and stuff. But yeah, that's cool. What's the average pack weight for an infantryman? Average pack weight, probably, geez. These days, I can't give an accurate answer. I think it might be pretty similar to where we were, probably anywhere between 30 to 40 kgs, whatever that equates to in pounds, upwards of 70 to 85 pounds, something like that, or 70 to 80 pounds. And that's being conservative, and that's probably more from a training exercise perspective. Operationally, I know, at least during my time, and with technology and kit and equipment these days, maybe it's more, maybe it's less, I'm not sure. But it wasn't uncommon to be carrying a pack, which, and then you're talking direct fire support, whether they're mortars, whether they're SFMG or heavy machine guns, all that sort of stuff. Then you're going up in weight again. So it could be anywhere from, for those guys, maybe 50 to 65 plus kilos. So now you're starting to get into 100 plus pounds worth of weight. Then again, it might be, so from an average pack weight for an infantryman, yeah, probably somewhere between 30 to 50 kilos is probably I'd say a better range from a training perspective, maybe towards operational. But I know that some of the packs, when you're including spare batteries, radios, scopes, NVGs, and then just little things start adding up, then your water, then your food, then your ammunition, then your sleeping gear, then your spare clothing, boots, etc. Like, there's a med kits, other comms gear, and that's not even from a direct fire support perspective, when they're carrying spare barrels, tripods, heavier ammunition for the weapons that they're firing. It's a lot of weight. So somewhere between that, 30 to 50 kilos roundabouts for an infantry person who's not heavy weapons. And then heavy weapons, probably heavier again, maybe 50 kilos upwards to 60 to 70 kilos, maybe, depending on what it is that they're carrying. And also it depends on the duration of how long they're out for as well. So if you've got to be self-sufficient for 14 days or 2 weeks versus 5 days, you can, your gear will be lighter. So in Timor, having to carry 14 days worth of water plus having enough food. You're breaking things down. You break down your ration pack so that you can have enough food. We were restricting water to 1 litre a day, so minimum 14, but on average each person was carrying about 20 litres worth of water. So that's 20 kgs in weight just of water, not including your ammunition, not including your batteries and equipment and all the other stuff that you need to survive. One of the good things about being over there, though, and things like that is the weather and the climate, the environment. So because it was hot, you didn't need to carry a big, thick, heavy sleeping bag. So something nice and light. So there are ways around trying to trim that weight down. But yeah, hopefully that helps from my perspective, from an outdated perspective, probably. What's the hikoi, Joe and James? Oh, has he already answered it? So yeah, it's just a walk. So a peaceful protest. Oh, protest? Is it a protest? It's a peaceful walk for all cultures and all people from around Aotearoa, whether you're black, white, islander, Maori, non-Maori. You support a certain group, whatever they are, in terms of government, parliament. See, look at that. All I've been hearing spat out in the media lately is Te Pāti Māori this, Te Pāti Māori that. Te Pāti Māori are Lincoln falling apart, breaking apart, etc., etc. So the hikoi is a walk to just bring people together of all different, whether you agree or disagree, and just peacefully walk along and then have a kai together. So they'll be stopping off at different points and sharing a meal together, and hopefully engaging those that want to engage in respectful conversation, whether they agree or disagree. That's probably what I was picking up on in terms of what Shubs is doing for the hikoi. So hopefully that helps. Christian, what's that? Interesting. Where are we? Machine coming back. What's the hikoi? Okay. Christian, here's an interesting thing to think about. Bondi shooting. I know a guy whose brother-in-law, who he never sees, is a bikie. As such, he has been barred from owning a firearm, yet the father was allowed to buy 6 shotguns while his son is on an ASIO watch list. Something up with that big time. Yeah, it's far out, man. It's hit hard, that Bondi shooting, and then even the aftermath of that. Other people that they've been finding, a FIFO worker from over in Perth, I forget the guy's name, but that popped up on my feed, who's since been arrested, I believe, having firearms, putting out anti-Semitism on his social media posts and all that sort of stuff. So in support of, so I think there was a post that he put out there that he was supportive of the 2 shooters, and yeah, saying what he said about the Jewish people, etc. So pretty crap, considering there's a number of people, that have gone away to try to prevent that stuff from being there in Australia, here in NZ, and in and around the world. But I think the reality is, which we're probably all aware of, that stuff is probably still going to happen, regardless of what happens, as sad as that is. But anyway, James is a hikoi march is kicking off in Wellington, January 20th. Oh, thanks for these details. January 20th. Their details on Shub's social media. Hope that helps, bruv. Okay, cool. You should read the SIS and GCSB annual reports here. They are catching a few people planning attacks. Oh, true. Okay. And a variety of other security concerns regarding NZ, no doubt. Jelly Tip, do you know if you carry as much weight as an infantryman during basic training? Nah. Apologies if it's been a long time. Nah, no way. Do you carry as much weight as an infantryman during basic training? No. Even with the 2 sons that I'm fortunate to have, who have chosen to go serve in the military here in NZ, they're both infantrymen. No, their packs aren't the same as what they would, or probably what they have now, been in infantry. So both of them are in infantry. Their packs are heavier. Man, a few things that they spoke, like they get issued this Terminator pack on basic training, which apparently nobody likes. I really like it because it's comfortable. So I use that for a lot of my stuff. But I always had an Alice pack. And then I think on their infantry corps training, they got issued another pack. Flash, Gucci pack, got all the bells and whistles and pouches and everything on it. Looks comfortable. It's probably the type of pack that guys from my vintage or generation would have spent time using a sewing oil and making ourselves, and or if you knew somebody within the battalion. Geez, I forget his name. He was a sergeant in the Alpha Company. He used to do a lot of work. He had, I think, an industrial sewing machine. He used to sew the loops onto our pouches to make it more comfortable so it could just slide onto the belt rather than having those bloody Vietnam or World War, whatever, 1 or 2 clips, that metal clips that dig in, and you clip them in and they can dig into your sides and that sort of thing. So he used to do a whole bunch of modifications to gear. He modified a lot of my gear even before I went on selection in NZ, and it was awesome. I forget his name, but which is pretty rubbish of me. But yeah, he was in another rifle company, had an awesome reputation, did fantastic work. So they've got much better gear these days. But as an infantryman, those on basic training, they're not carrying the same sort of weight that they would be in an infantry rifle company these days. Not here in NZ anyway, and I would imagine it's probably similar in Australia. The only exception to that is maybe if they do carry close to or around about the same weight as an infantryman in a rifle company on basic training here, it would only be for a real short period of time. Like the field exercises that they do, they're not very long. They might only be a few days at a time. But they do a few other cool things in between. The exercise warrior is one of the things that we didn't have during my time. The equipment with the body armor that they use, the mountain urban environments that they train in, and doing that type of training we didn't have any of that. So it's pretty cool. Probably won't be long before maybe drones and stuff are introduced to basic training or core training. Who knows? But that'll come down to dollars and cents, I suppose, and people signing off on that sort of thing. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, no need to apologize, bro. Apologies if it's been a long. Oh, apologies if it's been a long. You mean for me? Yeah. No, all good. So it's been good to see the type of kit and equipment that they have these days and have a bit of an understanding of the weight comparison. Have your sons mentioned anything about gear issues and whether things need upgrading? They probably not specifically, but I probably broached the topic with them because they do purchase a few bits and pieces pretty regularly, actually, from a company called Twin Needle. Twin Needle? Hopefully I'm saying that right. I think it's Twin Needle. I have no affiliation with them. I just follow them on Instagram. But they seem to make some very good gear anyway. So bits that soldiers and stuff use. And so I know my boys have purchased some stuff in that from there to just make their gear work for them, if that makes sense. So whether that means gear issues and needing upgrading, maybe there are some things there that could happen, but that's where whoever the NZDF engages for those contracts should be getting the feedback. Now, it depends on who's giving that feedback, where it's coming from. If they're getting the feedback from the soldiers on the front line, which is where they should, I don't know if they are, then that would hopefully generate and cause less need for soldiers in general, not just my sons, but soldiers in general, to go to places like Twin Needle to buy additional bits and pieces. Some of the challenges might be around, or not might be, are around replacing kits as well. So I know my boys have put in to replace some boots that have worn out, or other bits and pieces of equipment, pouches and that sort of thing. It takes quite a while for the wheels to turn and for them to get the items. Not just for them, this is just them talking in general. So it makes them a little bit reluctant to put stuff in, even though they know it's worn and they need the new version or the newer version. They'll just persist with it, right or wrong. That's what, not just them, but that's what people in their unit and stuff are doing in that as well, which is unfortunate. You'd like to think that isn't the case, but it is what it is. And so maybe there are some issues there with equipment, and maybe with the recycling or getting replacement kit and equipment for soldiers so that they can do their job. Anyway, drones, Defence Force has already introduced drones and FPV drones. There was an article put out by them in one of their newsletters. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Thanks for that, my soap. Where are we? Did that. Yep. What's that? What's this message here? Oh, I did receive. So there's actually a couple of these ones come through. There was a protest done by some people here in Aotearoa, here in NZ, with regards to an Indian community doing whatever, I think a celebration of their religious piece. And there's been a few people that sent me through some links and sent me one guy sent me through the video. I had a look at that. Yeah, again, not understanding or knowing why these people showed up to do that. Apparently, the comments were that this is a group that is part of or linked to Destiny Church. I don't know, but the church group, whoever they are, if that is part of Destiny's Church, seemed to show up. There was another guy though that sent me a video of the same thing, but it was a reaction. Yeah, a reaction. A fellow giving his thoughts on the protest that was done. So those that were protesting against the Indian community there, who were looking to recognise or celebrate, I think, a religious piece of what they were doing. Those in protest were doing a haka. And when I looked at some of the faces of those doing the haka, I saw all sorts. I saw, well, very fair looking if they're Maori, cool, or they may be non-Maori. I saw some Asian looking people in there. I saw some Islanders in there, and I saw Maori people doing this haka in protest of this Indian community. From what I could gather, were just conducting a peaceful activity in recognition of whatever it is that they believe. Again, these things I don't get into them. Maybe if I remember, I'll try to speak about some of that, why I don't or why I choose not to. But the fellow that was giving his reaction to what he was watching, essentially his message was just like, we're a melting pot of people here in Aotearoa, come from all over the world. We've got Americans here, we've got Irish here, Scottish, Islanders from all the islands here, Australians here, like you name it, there's people here, Asians, etc. And so just a big melting pot. And his message was pretty simple, just get along, like live and let live, essentially, was what I took away from it. And he says, he related it to NRL, to rugby league. And he says, why aren't these same people out there doing a protest when all the Tongans or all the Samoans get out there and they block the roads during the Pacific Island Cup rugby league tournament that happened? They're like, why aren't they out there protesting against all the Tongans or all the Samoans when they lock down the streets? They got big, massive lines traveling out on the roads, music blasting, lights blaring as well, or the different coloured lights. Some people even sitting on the bonnets of their cars. They're going slowly. They're not hooning up the streets, but they're making a heck of a lot of noise, flags flying everywhere. It's hard to get to and from the shop during that time, so you either have to go early or you just miss out and go to the shops the next day. He's like, where are these people? Why aren't they protesting when they're out there doing this? And it might just be because it's sports and people, don't mind. But yeah, I think his point highlighted, here's a group of people, not Indigenous, let's say, from Aotearoa, New Zealand, for whatever reason, whatever people's perspectives are, but they're involved in this parade, rally, whatever you want to call it, blocking up the streets, big, massive, long roads. It's like, why aren't you protesting those fellas? And I think he made me laugh. He goes, probably because you'll get a fussy upside the head, I think he said something else, but it made me crack up. And yeah, I don't know if it makes sense, but it made sense to me when I listened to that. I thought, man, he's got a good point. Why don't they go out there, if they're that upset about it, and go and protest against these guys? Probably because of that, because they're worried, like, you want to go out there with the Islanders in the community and and put up a protest because they're out there celebrating, or prior to the game talking it up about how they're going to win and smash the Kiwis, etc., next minute. But it's just all part of the banter and the game, I suppose. So maybe that's why people are, maybe they're happy to let it pass, or maybe they're just too scared to go and confront the Islanders and tell them to stop doing that here. So anyway, the thoughts on that, yeah, man, got here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, Australia is no different. Very, very blessed, these two countries. I've been blessed, my family and I have been blessed to live in both countries. And receive the benefits, receive the support from those countries. When I say benefits, I mean the legal privileges that it provides. In Australia, there was things called the family tax benefit. So we received the blessing of that. Never needed to go on, and still don't, which is great. Never needing to go on and use like work and income support or any of that sort of thing. But the basic entitlements like family tax benefit or working for families, income with regards to your children and stuff at home, I think that's been great. So that's what I mean by being able to enjoy the privileges. That's just some of them: the medical privileges, the legal privileges, the housing privileges, etc., etc. So the list goes on. People, one of the guys in this video in regards to that protest said, whether you flew here, whether you grew here, whether you're just here on holiday or whether you came here on a holiday and ended up staying here for the long term and you've gone through the right channels and processes with regards to whatever the immigration requirements are, and you're looking to contribute as positively as you can to the community or the country that you're in, man, let's just get along. And when you're speaking those words, not those exact words, but that's the message that I took away from it. I thought, man, that's, fella looked quite young too, but obviously very wise, much wiser than I likely was at his age, depending on how old he is. But as I hear that, I just think that's a good conversation. That's a good message to talk about anyway. So as long as you're not an egg, hey, what's that All Blacks are saying, no dickheads, don't be a dickhead, and just, try and be a good person, contribute positively to your community, look out for and help one another. And with that, that's largely why I don't delve into the government space. I've had a few people say, I should run for local area and that sort of thing, or do stuff with the youth and that sort of thing. I've been privileged to do some work with the youth before, and with adults from the male reintegration space that have been in and out of the prison system, etc. Very, very rewarding and fulfilling work, 100%. But a lot of dramas in that space, and the government's no different. That's why I don't vote, right or wrong. I haven't voted for a long time. Didn't vote in Australia. I used to pay the fines that used to come out. Now that I'm over here, I was still receiving fines. So we had our son come over from Perth, brought a whole bunch of mail. A bunch of those were fines that I was supposed to be paying. But I called them, reached out. I could have just ignored it, but I thought, no, I've still got my Australian passport, Australian citizen. I'll be going backwards and forwards to Australia. Maybe not that frequently, but I will be going back there. I don't want to be getting bailed up at immigration or whatever. So anyway, contacted them, let them know the situation. They said, oh, yeah, no worries. They sent me through email comms. I don't need to pay those fines because I hadn't been there since 2020. And yeah, so the fines had been racking up with regards to me not voting, because we still own our home there in Perth, and the address and registration, everything's there. So so there's that. I don't vote in NZ, again, right or wrong. People that have regularly said to me, and my wife is one of those, well, don't complain about it if you're not going to vote. So that's why I choose to not really talk about it. I don't do stuff about it on my social media, not very often, because I just see a group of people that look to find fault in these other seemingly intelligent, educated people, and try to tear them down so that they can elevate themselves above them, and then get voted into these positions to supposedly support the community and look after the people. So I just think that's a bit of a crock, to be fair. Sorry, that's not to be fair. That's in my experience as I look at it. And yeah, I'm like, why would I want to vote for anything like that or anybody like that? Like, it doesn't, what they're saying about somebody else may be very true. But I think those people that want to get into that space and put themselves out there, public service, and want to serve the community, I like to think that there's a sincerity in them wanting to serve the community and do a good job. But I don't know, I haven't been in that situation, but I could only imagine that it could be quite hard to be doing that for so long, trying to take the higher road and not be trash talking your opposition leaders and finding fault in what they do and what they've done with the budget and blaming them, oh, that was the previous government's fault, they never rectified it. Making promises for things because it seems to be popular or trending with regards to what members of the public are wanting to see. Polling votes and positioning of groups and alliances with people in order to get more seats and votes, and basically try to convince people that they're going to do all these things and deliver on all these things that they've said they're going to do. Yeah, I just does my head in, so I don't even bother following it. So anyway, I do see bits and pieces. So, but I couldn't tell you any policies or plans that National or Labour are planning on doing, or that Te Pāti Māori is looking to implement, or whatever, or the Greens or whatever. So, because I don't think that they're there for the right reasons, or that they're trying to do that. I'd like to think that they are, but anyway, that's a bit of my rant in terms of around not following the Parliament stuff or the government stuff, and why I don't vote. Hopefully they don't introduce, I shouldn't have said this on here, but hopefully they don't introduce fines for not voting. Maybe they will. Even then, I probably still wouldn't vote and just pay the fines like I was in Australia. Kia ora, Joe. Hey, Dave. Are you still interested in reacting to some of the Ukraine combat footage on YouTube? Yeah, you know what? I haven't actually gone looking for that, just because, thanks for that, my soap 23. I haven't gone looking for any of the Ukraine combat footage. I think some people, maybe you, and maybe some others, have sent through some links, but I haven't gone looking for it because of the list of the stuff that I've got to go through and react to is massive. So just even in the sense of some of the videos and the reactions are several hours long. So that's going to take multiple reactions just to get through that one video, if that makes sense, at least the way I do it anyway. So yeah, but if there's stuff there and I get to it, there have been some people that have sent through messages on Instagram, kind messages saying, hey, just checking in, please don't forget to react to this, and then resending me a link that they've sent me several months ago. So yeah, so it's definitely stuff there. I would react to it. I've seen the footage. There was a short video clip of a knife fight one between a Ukrainian and a Russian soldier, and I believe the Russian soldier neutralized the Ukrainian soldier. Real close, hand-to-hand, as close as it gets, hand-to-hand combat. And then there were some subtitled translations that were happening of the talk that they had, and then the guy left. I think the guy still finished the other fella off with a grenade just to make sure that he was gone. So, but anyway, yeah, I would react to those. Did you have vote during your time in the regiment? Did you have vote during your time? I remember from your podcast, is it they removed you from the electoral roll? NZ, was it the same in Aussie? Well, maybe they have now. I don't think they did then. But the last time I remember voting in Australia was when John Howard was Prime Minister. So that was the last time I voted. I voted for him. And I felt like I did that by and large because the other guys in the regiment said, yeah, let's vote for Johnny Boy, and let's vote for Johnny Boy again. And I was, oh yeah, okay, that's good. He seemed to be a supporter of the ADF in general, but I'd seen him around in camp a couple of times, and he was there when we came back from Iraq as well, shaking out, greeted everybody, each of us individually, shook our hands as we came off the bus. He made sure that he positioned himself right there and just shook our hands and thanked us. And then there was his entourage and a few other people, and then we went through. A few guys went and got photos with him. I should have gone and got a photo with him, but I was just happy to be with my wife and our children, so I didn't go get a photo with him. Yeah, hopefully, I don't know if I answered that question, but yeah. Tom Jones is back. Have a Māori Christmas, owl. Billy T. James. Yeah, rest in peace, the great Billy T. James. Man, yeah, I guess that brings back some memories just watching that, just reading that. So thank you for that. Tom Jones is back. I voted once, brother. The old man took me to the booth when I was 18. Never again. I figure I'm better off taking control of my own situation, making the best of any situation. Mean, bro. That's awesome. That's choice. Yeah, I don't know how many times I voted. I can't say it would have been that many. Awesome to read. Yeah. I think that's it, eh? Oh, geez, that's been a little bit over an hour. But yeah, I'll just hopefully I think everybody's Christmases has gone well. Well, I like to think it has anyway. Hopefully it has. Hopefully, it's been a nice, peaceful Christmas, time with the family and loved ones and friends, and maybe mending bridges, if that's something that's been on the list of things to do, and maybe building new bridges and or friendships and relationships. So hopefully it's gone really well. Hopefully you're not too out of pocket with regards to spending sprees and all the Boxing Day sales, which I think Boxing Day sales started a lot earlier than like before Christmas this time. I don't know if that's normal. And hopefully if you're looking forward to the new year, I know I am. Got plenty of work to do. And just enjoying the process, man. Like, it's become more and more comfortable. I met the dad of our soon-to-be daughter-in-law. So one of our sons is getting married, which is awesome. And it was nice to meet him. And it's becoming more and more comfortable, I suppose, to just say what I do. So he asked, I didn't say anything about it. I usually don't say anything unless people ask. But he goes, oh, because he's come over from Australia, he's moved back for good now. I think to be closer to his family and that sort of thing. And he's looking for work. I think he's been here for several months now, looking for some work. And then he asked, he goes, oh, what do you fellas do? To my wife and I. And I said, oh, bro, I just do YouTube. And he was like, hey, looked at me and was like, huh? Probably looking, who's this old fellow? What are you doing on YouTube? He didn't say that, but that's sort of the impression I got. But that's all good. And then, and my wife works in the legal space, in the community law space. So she enjoys that, being able to try and serve and have a positive impact on those in the community who can't afford the legal services that, people that do have the means can. So her and the amazing team at the Puriroa Community Legal Centre here in Puriroa in the shopping centre there, they do a fantastic job. So I'm glad that my wife is happy working in that space. It's means tested, so they do get some people that go in there that are well above the means testing, like salary wise, and it's like, bro, so all they can do is like, you need to go find yourself a lawyer because you're making 140 grand a year or 180 grand a year or 90 grand a year. So the people that they work with in the community that need the legal support, whether it be contractually, whether it be employment stuff, whether it be housing stuff, whether it be family stuff, etc., insurance stuff, is for people in the community that don't have those means or that ability. So that's just a tip for anybody that might be in this area. And then the last tip on that as well is they get a number of people that come in that aren't necessarily from the area. So the beautiful thing about Wellington, and I guess in other areas, you've got community legal centres delegated that look after certain areas, and people within that catchment can go to that community legal centre. So they've had some people come from other areas, and that's as much as the information that my wife gives me. She's like, I was like, it's a bit hard asking how her day is. So yeah, it's good. Oh man, it's busy. And or to be in real general terms, oh man, we had a few people come that aren't even in our area, that are well above the means testing aspect in terms of getting legal support, but they've still traveled all the way here to try to get some free legal support from what they do. So they just direct them on. But some of them can be a bit high maintenance, she said. But then I think they can just issue a trespass notice. So, okay, and then issue a trespass notice, and then, people can't go, or shouldn't be going back there. So anyway, it's challenging work, it seems like, but she finds it fulfilling, especially when she's working with people that she's able to help. She can't, it's almost like, not almost, it's like the roles are reversed now. So she can talk to me in broad general terms of her work, but she can't give me any specifics. So which is interesting, and but cool at the same time. Now I have a little bit of a small insight into what it was like for her when I was at work and couldn't really talk about stuff or what was happening, largely because one, she probably wouldn't have really understood, two, because I couldn't do it, and then that's probably the same, one, because I probably won't understand what she's talking about, and two, because she can't. So, or maybe that's the other way around, one and two. So anyway, what do we got here? Australia, New Zealand, the best countries in the world. Don't tell anyone. Sick, nice. It's a good seeing your channel growing. Hey, thanks for that, bro. Yeah, hey, and that's probably something I should have mentioned. Just appreciation to everybody, those on here, those that some of the early supporters of the channel, but that don't necessarily comment very frequently or much at all. That's the same thing, isn't it? Very frequently or much at all. Anyway, they know who they are. But thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's felt, it's appreciated, and yeah, I'll just keep doing my thing because it's what I enjoy. Super Hone 12. God bless your goings and comings. Have a safe holiday time. Love to all. Thank you, brother. Likewise. Solicitor, client privilege. Yep. Born and bred in Otara. Keep it real. Otara. The Otara markets are still pumping and going strong, or at least they were when we were still up in Auckland anyway. We were living in Pukekohe, and I would travel to the Otara markets, not every weekend, but every now and then. They were still going strong. Go use the gym facility, or the basketball courts and stuff there at the Otara Recreation Centre, I think it is, or something like that. But anyway, appreciate you all, eh? Enjoy the rest of your holidays. Have a fantastic new year coming. Hope it's successful for all of you. Hope you achieve the things that you're wanting to do, and that success continues for all of you in terms of whatever it is that you're doing, that your families are safe, that you're safe, and that whatever it is that you're doing, that you enjoy it. So much love to you all. Otara Pulse. There you go. Cheer, bro. Thank you. That being said, anybody going through any dark times, challenges, difficulties, hardships, man, yep, message is always the same. Just keep turning up. Take one day at a time. Put one foot in front of the other. Keep staying in the fight. Know and trust that things can and do and will get better if you want them to. The sun will shine again. It always does. Even though it's been grey and miserable here today in Wellington, the sun will still shine again. Tomorrow's another day. So keep pushing forward, and yeah, just don't quit. Everybody goes through hard times, and no matter how lonely and miserable things are, or might seem right now, or might feel right now, they will get better. I promise you that much, based on some of my own experiences, and no doubt yours and people that you know as well. So stay in the fight. It's worth it. I promise you, I guarantee you it's worth it. So anyway, as always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there's a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all. Merry Christmas. West is best, West Auckland. All right, end. All right, darling.